Bitcoin.
Well, Bitcoin in my hedge fund. I own Bitcoin in my fund, in my private account.
$10,000 per Bitcoin in 3 years.
Well, I think it is working. There will be other currencies like it that may be even better.
Would you like to get started investing in crypto? If so, the best place to get started is Coinbase. If you'd like to help out the channel and get free Bitcoin, please check out the link in the description box below. Crypto King is not a financial advisor.
It's time for a change. Some smart person once said, the world needs banking, but it doesn't need banks. Banks generate obscene profits from taking your deposits and giving them out to borrowers. Celsius is different. We take crypto deposits and use them to lend dollars back to our community so that you, our members, can keep the profits, earn more interest, and pay less for loans. While banks focus on their own profits, our model is built in the community's best interests so that people like you, me, and Bob can enjoy the financial freedom we all deserve. With Celsius, you can earn up to 5% interest on coins stored in your Celsius wallet. Think of it as your crypto savings account. And when you need that dollar loan, let's say to pay off your credit card or for a new business loan, you can use your crypto as collateral with a much lower interest rate. Because it's an asset-backed loan and you're not selling your crypto, you won't have to pay tax right away. Meanwhile, your coins are stored safely with their custodian, and once your loan is paid off, your coins are returned. Genius, right?
Welcome, family, and thank you for tuning in to this special program in the Crypto King. On today's episode, I have one of my friends, a brother of mine, and also one of my research partners. His name is LeVar, and I invited him on the show today to give us some uplift about the Celsius wallet. But first, before we get into the Celsius wallet, I'd like to take the opportunity to say thank you for subscribing to my channel if you have not done so already. And if you like the comment or enjoy the comment that we present on this platform today, go ahead and take a moment and hit that like button. Actually, it's over here on this side. Hit the like button and also leave a comment or a question in the comment area so that way me and LeVar and myself can do our due diligence in answering your questions and getting you back the most efficient and correct answer as possible. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my partner, my friend, my buddy, and he's going to be joining us on the show today talking about Celsius. What's going on, my brother? How you doing?
It's pretty good, pretty good. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. No
doubt. Glad that you're here today. So on Crypto King, man, you my first live interview here that we're doing. Well, actually, it's not a live interview. We're doing a pre-record for the audience here, but you are my first interview, and I'd like to take the opportunity for you to introduce yourself here right now to the Crypto King family.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for community. So I just got into space, and I believe it's tremendous opportunity. For me, I have a financial background. And I also like tech and IT, I'm a person that kind of overclocked my own computer, and I have a background in finance. So when I found out about it, it was something that really got my attention. And I'm just a regular guy as well, and done some different entrepreneurial things when I was younger, published a couple books, different things, try to produce a board game at one point. But yeah, just done a lot of different things, looking at different unique things, and this was a great space that I saw a tremendous opportunity in.
So I heard you say you had a background in finance and you like the technical aspects, the technical aspect of crypto. So how would you think that later down in this life, I don't know how old you are, maybe you could give the crowd a hint. Well, actually, I do. I'm just saying that. But anyway, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe you could give a crowd a little bit of an idea of how your two actual backgrounds merged together to land you here today.
Well, I'm always intrigued by different things from an IT standpoint, so I've done different things myself when it came to, video gaming and things like that. So I always had an eye on like different tech. And then I've always been really decent with money in terms of budgeting and understanding, like interest and things just because of my background. And so that was pretty much it. It all just meshed together, but it's just different things. And so when I'm watching news, when I'm watching things on finance, I watch different things on like Warren Buffett and different investors, like Tony Deenan, and different people like that. So I'm watching different things like that. But in addition to that, I'm watching different IT shows on YouTube, just learning about different tech that's out there. And that's pretty much it. It's just part of my interest level. And then when I found out this opportunity, it just blend both worlds because of the DeFi and the CeFi aspects of crypto and the different things when it comes to lending and borrowing and different ways that you can use these different platforms to maximize your money and to make your money make money. So
wonderful. So that sounds really, really well, that you were able to, merge your school background and also your love for technology together in order to be able to make you some money for your family and whoever else it is that you have to take care of. So, that's wonderful to hear that, and that's what I like to try to promote to my congregants that, tune in to the channel, that you can actually merge, these two, or whatever it is that you're doing together in order to be able to create a situation where you can have generational wealth going at some point in time if you hit the right projects. So that brings me to the next point here. So I brought you on the show so we could talk a little bit about this Celsius wallet. On previous shows, I think my episode 3, I talked about some cryptocurrency wallets, and I introduced a couple of cold wallets, wallets that you can store offline. And then, I introduced some interest-bearing wallets. And, and then us doing our researches together, I thought it was real neat since you taking a liking to the Celsius wallet for you to come in and give an in-depth analysis about the Celsius wallet. But before we get to that point, what cold storage wallet do you actually use or do you have in possession, if any?
I was actually in the process of about to get a Ledger, but then Ledger had the security breach. So then it made me a little hesitant. But then I started in my research, understanding some different opportunities. So most of the coins and tokens that I have the ability to gain interest. So if you're doing cold storage, a lot of times you can't utilize the aspect of the gaining interest, because a lot of times on how they're able to gain interest and give you money back is they lend out your tokens to other people and you get interest in return. Kind of like how the banking system will lend out your money that you deposit in banks so that they'll give out small loans to companies and things along those lines. So when you have it in cold storage, nobody's able to lend out your tokens. So you have to have more, so if you want the interest aspect of things, you're going to be more in the line of using these hot wallets, where you can gain interest on those, because a lot of those platforms, they're able to lend out your tokens and they're going to pay you an interest for you doing that. And there's a risk into that because you are working with CeFi, where it's just, more of a centralized entity versus, you doing everything on your own and you having your own custody of your tokens and coins versus you're trusting somebody to be able to manage your assets. So, I mean, there is a bit of risk in that, but higher risk, higher returns, higher rewards.
Right.
So
that's what I love about crypto, because you can actually, if you're a real risk taker, man, you can definitely take some real risk here with this space right here and actually see a realized gain, after that said risk has been taken. So, yeah. All right. So, yeah, that's great to hear. A couple of things I wanted to note, because I know I probably have a couple of people, who will ask the question maybe in the comment section or something, that, they heard centralized and decentralized. So centralized finance and decentralized finance is the reason why we have crypto right now. So, and the difference between the two is that there's a third party entity overseeing your cash, i.e., for an example, you have a transaction that takes place that you ordered online off of Amazon, and it takes 2 or 3 days for your bank account to clear those funds. That's a centralized financial situation. Whereas on the other hand, with you have crypto, we're talking about a peer-to-peer transaction type of situation. And that way you don't have to worry about, time being lost to be able to, get the product that it is that you purchasing. So those two terms that you heard LeVar talk about, centralized versus decentralized finance, is what cryptocurrency is all about right here. So, but with this wallet that we're going to discuss here, the Celsius wallet is more so geared on a centralized platform, so to speak. However, the interest rates within this wallet are great, and this is why we are highlighting the Celsius wallet on this platform today. And then the other thing I wanted to highlight based off of what you heard LeVar say was that, you know, you can't really get interest inside of a cold wallet. Well, that's true to an extent unless you have the Exodus wallet. And I recommend that all of you who are beginning in the crypto space, that you have to go and access this client software, download it to your desktop or your laptop first, and then set it up for you to be able to get access on your mobile device. Exodus, in that wallet, you can actually stake some of the coins there, like Cardano. You can get interest off of the stable coin DAI, and you can also get interest off of other projects, interesting projects. One I highlight because I'm a Polkadot maximalist. I think both of us are. You know, it's a project Neo. I'm going to do a show on that at a later date about the project Neo, and you know, and what it solves in the ecosystem on the Polkadot platform. But for right now, we're going to focus on Celsius. So, LeVar, why Celsius? Why did you choose this wallet?
Well, absolutely. So, and when I was mentioning earlier about the hard wallet, I was more talking about the ledger versus any softwares. But anyway, the Celsius wallet. The main thing is when we initially got into the space, we were looking at a few different platforms to kind of hold our assets, where we can gain money. So we're looking at Nexo. We were also looking at crypto.com, and then I came across, Celsius, so there's some different things. So initially, because when I got into the space, I always like to do, especially when it's dealing with money. If I put my money into something, when I'm actually putting my cash into something, you best believe I'm like who that? What you doing with my what? So that's pretty much where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, all right, I need to know where this money is going, especially if you trying to be vested, if it's something that you really think has a lot of potential, you got to do your due diligence. So I did some research on different things, and they all had their positives. These are all top 100 coins. So these coins have some value, but there's still things that can separate them. So for me, we initially started off in Nexo. One of the great things about Nexo was they had decent interest. They also, one of the things I like, they do something similar to what Coinbase does. That's one of the exchanges. When they're paying your interest, you can actually see it ticking. It's a mental thing, but when you can see literally your money growing just by it sitting there, there's a psychological thing where you're like, man, okay, my money's just growing. I'm gonna put some more money in there. Those decimal places go even faster. So just the simple fact of them having that, you can see that they're in the process of trying to get a debit card or different things like that. At least it was when I was initially looking into it. Carlos can show you a little more on that. But those were some of the positive things. Now, some of the other things when I was doing my research, when they were talking about early wallets and things like that, they had talked about the importance of transparency. So one of the issues I had with Nexo initially was I only saw one person. It was like just the main dude. I didn't really see who they were lending to. I didn't see other people on the platform. And there was some other different things that I was like, man, I just wasn't 100%. The transparency aspect of it was what made me look a little further, just to see if there was some other things that I thought might be a little more transparent. So then I looked into Celsius, and I also looked into crypto.com. So before I go into Celsius, I want to touch on crypto.com because that's also a great platform, just like Nexo. Now, the great thing with crypto.com was they have a lot. You can actually purchase quite a few tokens on crypto.com. So there's some tokens like Polkadot and different things that you can actually get off of crypto.com that you can't get on some exchanges and things like that. So I still use crypto.com because it has now the fees are a little higher than I want, but if I can't really find the token or the coins that I want, I'm left with trying to purchase it there. But I mean, the fact that I have access to certain coins.
So question, what would you say to the person who hates purchasing on the Coinbase platform, but they don't know about crypto, Celsius, or Nexo? What would you tell them?
Well, in terms of other places to purchase coins?
Correct.
Well, it's just about research, because I don't want, again, this is all just documenting our own history on what we're doing, so you gotta take ownership of your own actions. So something happens, this is your money, it's your responsibility. So same thing with me. Nobody told me about purchasing off of crypto.com. I researched it and I found out you could purchase there. There's other places like Uniswap and these other places where you can switch coins and things like that. But there's a lot of different places, that you can upload fiat, which is regular money. But it's about doing your due diligence. I always, when I tell people about getting into the space, I always go with places that are highest security, because I don't want them coming back at me and be like, hey, that thing didn't work out too well. So I always tell people Coinbase, mostly because of the security aspect and the ease of use, but if you do want to use something outside of Coinbase or certain exchanges, then it's about researching what other platforms, that you can purchase from, like I think Trust Wallet. You can't really actually purchase if you're in the United States. It's hard to purchase from Celsius. It says you can purchase, but in my experience, I was having issues. So that's one of the negatives. There's Celsius they're really regulated. They're actually approved to the SEC, but because of that, they're highly regulated, but it also speaks to some of their security, which were some of the pros I was going to kind of go on. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it did actually. So family, now you can hear from another crypto beginner. I think, LeVar, how long have you been invested in crypto?
Well, I've been invested in crypto about 2 months, to be fully transparent. But literally, ever since I found out about it, I'm telling you, like every day, I watched almost hours and hours of video. And
that's good to know, because you talking to other people who are literally in similar shoes, just jumping in, don't know where to start and don't know where to put their money, don't know what to trust, don't know what to do in that situation if they trust it. So, you know what I'm saying? It's beautiful to hear somebody who is basically an infant in the space. I'm no crypto person that you could just rely on for all of your knowledge, but I am comfortable in saying that I know much more about this space than the average person, and I'm comfortable with helping somebody. So to hear you say that I'm an infant in this space, but I put in my work, because that is an actual term in crypto, do your own research. So because you're putting your own money into a situation that is so volatile, it can go up, it can go down just as fast as, it's up to you to be able to understand what it is that you're investing in. And it's no different from if you have a child and you're invested in that child's well-being. You have to do everything that it takes to make sure that your child is taken care of, from food to sleep to school to whatever the situation may be. Well, you have to take that same approach when we're talking about our financial situation, especially in this space with crypto. So family, you heard what LeVar said. Do your own research. He's been in it 8 weeks, but he knows as much as me as far as information. Why? Because you heard him. Every single day, he's doing some type of research in crypto because he has money invested in it, whether that's reading decrypt.com, coindesk.com, or whatever. LeVar, can you answer some of the tools? What are some of the tools that you use to do research to find out about these coins and find out how to use what exchange you want to purchase your coins on?
Well, me personally, I follow great investors, like great people that have made money in more the traditional finance sense. So Robert Kiyosaki always says something about, finding mentors, so what I do is I find people that are smarter than me, and I researched those individuals. I might not know them personally. Now I know you personally, so I leveraged some of your knowledge in the very beginning. You got me in. You showed me. You actually sent me one of your videos. That's how I got started. You sent me one of your videos. I watched. I was like, oh, look at this. You know, look at this this king out here. You know, so I saw one of his videos. I was like, you know what? It seems pretty interesting. And one thing you didn't know was I was actually in the space of looking for something to invest in. It actually was God, because it was perfect timing on what happened, because I was looking into, you know, I was thinking about doing real estate, you know, but that was going to be more in the future. But then with some of the different things, what they have in with renter, you know, with the economy and people maybe not being able to pay rent and things like that, I was like, I don't know about that one right now until the economy turns around. And then I had looked in some other things that had like traditional stocks, you know, but I had a bad experience back in the day when it came to stocks because of all the market manipulation and different things. We just saw what just happened with that. I'm not going to go. That's a whole nother segment, you know. But there's been different things in terms of market manipulation, and when you're dealing with politics and you know, and with this traditional system, there's a lot of flaws with it. So I saw that, and I was very hesitant on doing that. So one of the things that got me into it when you spoke about it, so the whole story is, as you know, I came, I said, hey, all right, so show me about this crypto thing you talked about. What's she talking about? So he got me on, and so you know, we met up at the location. I said, hey, you know, what would you do? Show me these different tools. So I used you as a mentor. So you were my initial person that got me in. You know, so I leveraged your knowledge, you know, and this is what you're doing now. You're giving back to community and different things in which you've learned, you know. And then so other mentors I started to look into was just different people, different personalities on YouTube that have been in the space for the last 3-4 years. And actually the great thing about YouTube is you can actually look at a person's track record, think different things they've actually said in the past if they came to fruition. You know, so there's been certain people that I actually looked to see what they said 10 months ago. What type of recommendations did they say? Did they say go into Ethereum? Did they say go to this and this and that? Did they make correct predictions? And when I saw that they did, you know, I started to be like, okay, that has value because they have a track record of making good investments and understanding the space. So that's one good thing about that. So it's about research, but it's if it's something that you enjoy doing, it's not as tedious, you know, because it was something interesting to me. Because I like IT, you know, so digital assets was right up my realm, and also like finance and a lot of this stuff dealing with money and interest and you know, making your money make money was right up my alley.
Nice. So that's good to hear. So I heard you say, you know, answering the question that you use a couple of other mentors like Kiyosaki, you know, and whoever else you were paying attention to on YouTube. I'm assuming that's what you were using, myself included, and stuff like that. So with those, did you find any particular sources from these people who you were leveraging knowledge from to be able to help you do more of a deep dive into your crypto research? What tools actually do you use? Like, where do you go to do your research?
Absolutely. So CoinGecko is one of your biggest resources. It's actually one of the fraud things that can happen in this space is if you think you're going to a website and it's not their real website. So once you find CoinGecko, CoinGecko also can take you to the legitimate pages for different coins as well. So CoinGecko will show you different charts. They allow you to track different coins. It gives you research on coins, how many coins are out there. So that's one of the biggest tools that you can use. You got that. You got Blockfolio. Also gives you news updates. There's a lot of different things. There's like a news app that I use. You know, I don't want to take out my phone right now, fiddle around with it. But there's different ones that you can use. But those would be the main ones because the Blockfolio has really good news, especially if you put certain coins that you want to track. And then you also have CoinGecko. So those would be the first ones to start off with. You could do a whole show on different things, but those would what I would start off with will be those particular tools. But as you grow, so with me, I started off small. I started off with him showing me just how to get my money on. And then after I got my money on in the space, changed it from regular cash into crypto, then I figured out how to actually send my money into different wallets. Once you understand that part and you research that part, you take it step by step. Okay, now that I got it there, what else can I do? And that's where your research and stuff goes in. So it's really just starting off with those basic tools such as your coin gecko, and then maybe upload Blockfolio, use that as like your news aggregator, and then go from there.
Nice. All right, so now that we circle back around, back to this Celsius wallet, I know we were talking about pros and cons last, and I think you were outlining some of the pros. So what are some of the cons with the wallet, or if it was vice versa, you can go from there.
Right. So I actually, all I did so far was I kind of went over crypto.com. So where we left off at, I was talking about crypto.com. One of the advantages of crypto.com was actually how you can purchase unique coins. Okay, so that's initially why what I liked about crypto.com. You can also gain interest there, but one of the negatives with crypto.com was that you had to lock it in for a certain amount of time. So one of the pros, so that was one of the things with crypto.com, is sometimes you have to lock it in for a certain period of time to get the interest, if I'm not mistaken. Another thing with crypto.com was I'm big on trying to get my tax stuff done easily. And that was another thing that was a little hard, was for me to use. They have these things called APIs that you can use to put into a tax program that can actually track everything that you're doing, so that anything that's considered taxable, they automatically can monitor that. So because of crypto.com not having, they had certain things, but it wasn't working properly. So that also made me go to Celsius. So now I'm in Celsius. So those were so that was Nexo, crypto.com, and then because of some of those different things, Nexo had limited transparency. Crypto.com, you had to stake, but you were locked in for a certain period of time, as far as I'm aware. And then the other thing, it had the thing with the API wasn't necessarily working as much. But then when I got to Celsius, there was a lot of positives. Like the biggest thing that initially got me was they're very transparent. Matter of fact, they just had an audit. They just had an audit where they had $6 billion assets managed or something like that, along those lines. But they had an outside auditor do it. It wasn't even an internal one. They had a third party go in and say, hey, look, this is what we got. Remember, I told you they're regulated by the SEC. So, the SEC going to give a stamp of approval, that's really transparent. Also, they have Alex, who is their CEO. He was the developer of the technology behind Wi-Fi calling and Skype. He's the CEO that drives it. And he does a lot of, every week, he is literally every week giving a ask him anything type situation.
And you can find that, right? Because that's when you originally told me and sold me about the Celsius wallet, because I'm a Nexo guy, family. I like Nexo. That's my #1 wallet. Nexo is 1A and Celsius is 1B, and they swap out from week to week. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's just depending on the interest you can get in those wallets. However, the CEO of Celsius, who LeVar is referring to, he actually has a YouTube channel, the Celsius YouTube channel, that you can subscribe to in order to be able to ask him questions pertaining to this particular wallet. I did want to say that while he was on his spiel about the CEO of Celsius. You can continue it.
Absolutely. And then they also have other people that you can see that works for them. They have a list of, when you go in, you can see the community, you can see the top wallets within there, how much they have of each asset, how many accounts that they have. They talk about how they actually make money. So they literally, the reason why they have some of the highest interest that they pay, they literally are trying to flip the banking system, where they are paying anything that any profits that they have coming in, 80% of that, they keep 20, but the 80% they use to pay out to their community. So that's why one of the reasons why they have 80%.
So this means that if you own the Celsius token, you get paid 80%? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Not necessarily 80%. When they generating it and they're passing out the interest, they're paying 80% overall. Now, how this breaks down is they're paying 10% on certain, up to 16% on some of these tokens, or coins, depending, that's another thing. But tokens or coins, and sometimes it could be up to 16%. Sometimes it could be as low as 2%, depending on which coin. And they got many coins.
Because I remember when you originally told me about one, and I was looking at this the Synthetics project, and I went to the Celsius wallet, and at this time when you originally told me, I was like, 20%? What? I gotta have some synthetics. I need it now. You know what I'm saying? So I understand totally what you're talking about with that. But what you're saying as a conglomerate, for each token or coin that's inside the wallet that's getting a percentage or interest, it's 80% of all of those, is what you're saying.
Right. Well, so that's how they're able to give out such rewards. So they have different ways that they actually pay. So that's the other aspect of it. There's like 3 different ways that you can get money using the wallet. So one is putting your token on their platform, or your coin on their platform, and it generates interest. So as high as 18%, sometimes 20%. The interest varies a little based on how the lending demand is. So sometimes it might be, like you said, 20%. Sometimes it might be 16%. So that's one thing. There's also something called Boost that I'm gonna go into a little later. So gaining interest is one. They do another thing with the referral bonus. So if you refer somebody to Celsius, they will pay you 20% in Bitcoin. So that was another great thing. I realized that when you're getting $20, in Bitcoin, it grows. I was like, oh, this thing's, so that $20 might end up, like.
And this is just for referring somebody to the wallet.
This is for referring. It's like it's like you refer somebody, and instead of them just giving you a few dollars, they just break out some gold.
So for all of you who are looking at this program today, what's going to happen is that I'm going to put LeVar's link for Celsius wallet down in the description box. So that way you can use his link and you can get $20 of free Bitcoin as well, for him being thorough and knowledgeable about this wallet. It's a real good wallet for you to have, and we want you to be able to reap the benefits or the rewards of having this wallet.
Absolutely. And then the third way that you can actually make money is they run these promotional programs. So they had this one where during Christmas, if you were to transfer a certain amount of money, you get $50 in Bitcoin. So they just run all these different promotional things. I've seen like 4 of them since I've been there. One was if you transfer a certain type of coin. Another one was if you transfer X amount during this holiday. Another one was a referral bonus, and there's been a lot of different promotional things. Then there was another one where if you do $2,000 in one coin, they would send you X amount. So if you and so they constantly are different things that you can look for, and they pay you in Bitcoin. So when they pay you in Bitcoin, that Bitcoin, to give an example, Bitcoin, I want to say gives you 6% on their platform, in addition to it growing as well. So as the coin appreciates, you also get paid in interest, and you get paid interest every Monday. So you actually see the big deposit hit your, depending on how much, you have on their platform every Monday. You're like, oh, we got paid.
So that means we got a recurring update of our interest payments every Monday. Cool.
Every Monday.
All right. So for the sake of our attention span for our people, you know what I'm saying? So are there any other points about the Celsius wallet that you want to hit that you may have missed? I give you the opportunity to cover that all right now in the next 2 or 3 minutes. So that way we can make sure that everybody is focused on grasping the information that you gave to them today.
Absolutely. Some restrictions that they have is they're restricted a little more in the United States. You can't get paid. Some of those higher interests are cut down a little bit, like another 3%. So some of the stuff that you might get paid 20% if they could pay you in cell token, since the actual token itself has lesser utility in the United States because of regulation. They can't boost your token. But if you're outside the United States, you get like an extra, it works out to like 3%, but they say 30%, but it's 30% on it, the interest that you would have gotten. So if it was like a 10%, now you're getting paid 13%, that extra 3%.
Understood.
So, but you got that, they also pay all fees. That's actually they're part of their platform, and part of that 80% give back to the community. They try to have it where there's like no fees at all, so when you're doing different things, they try to not do certain fees. Now, when I try to purchase something, the third party vendor that you're trying to do is going to have a fee for that, but they try to limit like transfer fees and things like that. So those are a lot of the key points. There's a lot of other different things, but again, research. I can't do it all for you. I can't do it all for
Understood,
you.
understood.
I gotta leave a little bit out there for you.
Family, you heard it, and you hear me preach it all the time. Do your own research. We can't say it enough. We have an expert Celsius person here on the show today that's breaking down a lot of the Celsius what do you want to call it, benefits for this wallet, or for you having this wallet and putting your tokens or coins or whatever inside of this wallet. However, you just can't take his word for it. You have to go and find out for yourself. Yeah, we're promoting Celsius on Crypto King. Yeah, we both have the wallets, but it's still up to you to do your own research, because what works for LeVar, what works for Crypto King may not work for you. So just like he said, go and do your research. Hey, is there anything else that you would like to add to our family today in regards to cryptocurrency? This is your time and your floor. Go ahead.
I appreciate you bringing me into the space. I'm greatly appreciative. Without you kind of exposing me to this opportunity, I wouldn't necessarily be here. I wouldn't have the opportunity that I have today. And this is just me giving back, just like you gave back. I'm paying it forward. So then when other people come into the space and they learn and they see it as a great opportunity, it's about word of mouth and grassroots, because this is the future. And one thing that I learned in the past is you got to seize those opportunities, but you want to bring your brother up with you, and this is my give back. And I thank you for the opportunity, and I thank you and your community, and hopefully I'll grow with y'all. One day, maybe I'll have a channel. If not, I'll be on Carlos's.
Hey man, no problem, man. I'm glad you evolved. I'm glad that you a friend of mine and you helped me, man. Family, this is one of the people. I have 3 people that help me with my crypto research. Henry is the most important of the 3 because he researches just as hard as I am. I want you to understand that when you go to do your research, it's a lot of stuff to take in, and having partners and people that can hold you up to be able to make sure that you're getting information and getting it out in a timely fashion. I really, really appreciate him for being able for doing that for my audience and helping me to be able to provide you with top quality information in this crypto space. So, you heard him say at some point in time, we look forward to him and creating his YouTube channel as well. So that way he can help a whole different sector of people that I can't necessarily reach. However, there's an open invitation always for LeVar to come on to the space. So family, if you come on to my program and you see an interview with Mr. Henry here on our program, please make sure that you tune in, because you're not going to be lacking in information whatsoever. He is the information king, and he definitely does a better job than me and as far as research is concerned. And I'm so happy and so glad to be able to have him on the platform today and introduce you to the Crypto King family. Hey, family, thank you for tuning in today. Remember, excuses are tools of incompetence used to build monuments of nothing. Those who specialize in them seldom amount to anything. There are no excuses. Never look down on anyone. And if you have to look down on someone, look down on them to lift them up. We should always be lifting as we climb. Hold fast, be strong, don't quit. Let all your things be done in charity. I love you. Yeshua loves you. And there's absolutely nothing that you can do about it. You guys have a wonderful day.